Hi everyone, Kashia here from Politely Rebellious. We really enjoyed recording series 1 and I wanted to just say hi and welcome to series 2 of the Being Politely Rebellious in Pompey video podcast. We have if it's even possible to say, we have another incredible lineup of individuals who are coming on to cement our stories in history, letting us in on their politely rebellious journeys that they've had throughout their lives and careers. As I mentioned on series 1, one of the really important things that we want to generate here is inspiration, inspiring others as to what you can achieve when you put your mind to it and you punch your way past the obstacles that can often be set out before us. So please enjoy series 2 as you have done series 1. Please remember to like, subscribe and share. Without that happening, we can't be here. So, like, subscribe and share. Enjoy the series.
Well, the best thing that actually ever happened to me was actually getting expelled from school.
Really? How old were you?
14.
Okay.
Left the company I'd done my apprenticeship with.
Yeah.
Set up my own company.
When you were how old?
18.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and I was just so driven. Whatever I'd done, I just went all in on 100%. Like, so if I was being a rascal at school,
you were 100% in.
I was the worst. So if I'm going in business,
if I'm going to have a fight, believe I'm going to win because I'm doing it 100%.
So I was kind of just had that mentality with everything I do, like all or nothing.
All or nothing. I love that.
So the key thing for me is you work so much of your life, you've got to enjoy what you're doing.
You've got to be passionate about it.
We've created a culture now where everyone likes working together. We've all got a common goal to support each other, keep growing, always developing ourselves. And if you're not happy doing it, then I'll wish people well. Like.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Politely Rebellious podcast. We are all about being politely rebellious in Pompey, and today we are joined by the absolutely incredible Mark Legg, who is entrepreneur and founder of many businesses, well respected in the Pompey area. How are you doing? All right?
I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah,
well, thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. Do you know what? One of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on is obviously I know that you've just moved local. Amazing, just had an amazing extension on his house. Can we just add? Done in how many weeks? 11 weeks.
Yeah. So completely took the roof off.
That is insane.
Went up another floor, put a roof back on.
Yeah.
Gained about 100 square metres on the house.
That's insane, isn't it? It's funny because that house was up for sale for a little while.
Yes.
And you could tell that it was only up for sale because somebody clearly just maybe didn't have the money to do the work, but also just didn't have the eye for like the potential that it could be.
Yeah.
So to see it now, it looks beautiful, and you've done really well with the look of it. It still fits in the community, because sometimes people like knock things down and then make them look like something that belongs in London or something, whereas it still looks suburban.
I did have about 3 attempts at what we wanted through the planning. So we had to kind of fall in with what we were allowed to have.
Okay.
But the end result was actually better than what we initially went for.
Oh really?
Anyway, yeah.
No, it looks amazing. And I must say, I was getting to, one of the main reasons why I wanted to get you in today is because when I've spoken to a couple of people about you, so Pompey's very small, right? And you talk and da-da-da. And people have said to me that you are an unsung hero.
Oh,
so
wow.
that you are like that hero that doesn't, I guess, shout about the fact that you're a hero. Like, you do things because that's part of your personality, as opposed to wanting credit for the things that you do. Does that kind of ring true with you?
Yeah, I think I do a lot more than most people
see.
know.
Yeah.
And I do a lot behind the scenes. So I used to shout a lot about things.
Yeah.
I used to be very vocal on social media and stuff like that, and I actually stopped using it 4 years ago.
Oh really?
So maybe that's why people have that perception there, because they might hear things and think, well, he doesn't say that.
Well,
I didn't see
but that's nice
like that.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe in karma, and I think karma's a beautiful thing, and you can often go around doing beautiful things and it comes back to you in beautiful ways. And you don't always need to, shout about the fact that you gave a homeless dude 10 quid,
No.
Like, there's just no need for that. I don't get those videos. But let's talk about your early life. So you're Pompey born and bred, aren't you?
Yeah, so born and bred in Portsmouth, always lived here, and now I've got 4 children, married with 4 children, so Dolly, our oldest, she just left school.
Yeah.
Got her GCSEs yesterday.
Oh. Did she get what she needed? What she wanted?
Yeah, she's we're really proud. She's really happy. She passed them all.
Oh. What does she want to do?
She's not quite sure yet. She is going to college
Yeah.
and doing things, but I don't believe you really know what you want to do when you leave school anyway.
No, 100%. Are you doing what you thought you would be doing? I know I'm certainly not.
I kind of am to a degree. I'm completely different to Dolly at school.
Yeah.
So she's done really well, passed all her GCSEs. I had to ask her yesterday when she phoned me to tell me about what the grades actually meant.
Right.
And I looked them up, and the one that stood out for me, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. She got the highest grade she possibly could in business. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes, that's my girl.
No, yeah, I didn't get that far. I didn't get to GCSEs. So
what school did you go to?
I went to Mayfield.
Yeah. So did you grow up down in like North End or Stamford?
Yeah. So grew up in Stamford. I didn't really get on with school. I was too much of a rebel.
Yeah. Back in the day when you weren't politely rebellious, just rebellious.
Just rebellious, yeah. So didn't get on with school at all.
Was there a reason for that?
Just like being a rebel.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way? Were you like cheeky? Were you naughty? Were you fighting? All of the above.
Fighting. Yeah. I was really bad for that.
Yeah.
Really bad for that. And I think I was like really just like almost like establishment. So like
anti-system.
Anybody that wants to tell me what to do, I'll do the opposite.
Okay.
It was almost like I was just on a mission to like be as naughty as a kid. Until the best thing that actually ever happened to me was actually getting expelled from school.
Really? How old were you?
14.
Okay.
Because I was always getting suspended.
Yeah.
And it was just like a buzz then. And I think the worst thing the teacher said to me at school was that I had the worst behaviour profile in the school because I was like, yes!
I've achieved
something! So I kept getting suspended, and then eventually I was, I says to Geffen, you know Geffen?
Yeah.
Says to Geffen, I was invited to leave. So I was then like expelled from school and just like hanging around with other kids who were expelled from school.
Yeah.
And then someone rang up and said someone was looking for a labourer.
Okay.
And that happened to be Paul Moody,
okay.
who's a very good friend of mine now,
is
business
he
partner.
With you on the Synergy?
Works on the Synergy, yeah. We do like property investment together.
Oh, wow.
And we work together on the Synergy
really cool.
success. So
he was the first person that gave you a job back when you were 14?
I was 14, yeah.
Wow.
So I went into like full-time work at 14.
Yeah.
And watched him start his own business.
Yeah.
So he was a couple of years into his business journey and he was just looking for some casual labour to help, and then that sort of evolved into full-time work.
Wow.
And then suddenly I just really enjoyed being sort of like earning my own money, that kind of thing. And
I guess being amongst people that you felt like you could learn from.
Yeah. And then like even to a degree as well, it's almost like then still I used to get like things where I'd feel almost like in a position of power. They used to get like, they do like house clearancing.
Yeah.
They go, can you bring anyone in? And I'm like, I'd gather up all my mates and stuff like that.
And then you'd
bring them all in and we'd come and like do house clearance.
Right, you do this, you do that.
I used to enjoy that. I enjoy working closely, watching him like grow his business. And then I think when I done that for a couple of years, so by the time everybody left school, I already had a couple of years work experience.
Amazing.
And then I went and got a trade. So I went learned to be a painter and decorator.
Yeah.
So I went and done an apprenticeship with that. As soon as I qualified, I was doing my own work, self-employed, left the company I'd done my apprenticeship with.
Yeah.
And set up my own company.
When you were how old?
18.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so and I was just so driven. Whatever I'd done, I just went all in on 100%. Like, so if I was being a rascal at school,
you're 100% in.
I was the worst. So if I'm going in business,
if I'm going to have a fight, believe I'm going to win because I'm doing it 100%.
So I was just kind of had that mentality with everything I do, like all or nothing.
All or nothing. I love that. What were your parents like? So when you were obviously getting suspended from school, and then eventually when you were invited to leave, what was their thought process about it? Were they supportive of you, or like were you naughty?
It's quite funny
because
my parents were like the opposite to what anyone would have suspected.
Oh, really? really?
I had like really good parents and stuff, you know, working class and really supportive, really nice people.
So it wasn't like you were rebelling against
they were never trouble
or anything like that?
No, they were never in trouble or anything like that, because, you know, sometimes you meet people and, you know, they've had those kind of experiences where, you know, they maybe felt like they were born into that sort of thing, but I wasn't. My really good parents. It was just
you had the support there if you needed it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Some of my siblings were similar to me, so maybe we sort of like
bounce off of each other in that way. Let's just make mum and dad's low bag.
Yeah, we really did as well.
We've had it easy up
in our teenage years. We kind of like more my mum. We put like put her through hell.
Oh really? Oh bless her.
So yeah, but then when I started working, like I gradually just matured quite quicker. And then so I went into business when I was like 18. Got quite big quite quick.
And how did you manage that? Because, you know,
badly.
But also, like, we're not young, are we? Like, well, we're youngish. But like social media wasn't big back then or anything, so it would have been based on like word of mouth or like leafleting or whatever.
Yeah, so that was actually one of the things I started with, was like going around having leaflets made up, posting them through people's doors, calling agencies and stuff like that if they could find you work, and then just kind of like meet new people, and I think I was just one of the people they could see would get things done.
Right.
So, you know, I'd be subcontracting for like larger organisations, and they could just see that I was someone that was going to go all in. I could get a lot of men together and that kind of thing and get things done. But then that was also at the time was then to my detriment as well,
because you would take on too much.
Yeah. So I was 18 and I had about 25 men.
Wow.
I had a little office in Challenge Enterprise Centre.
Yeah, I was there. That's where my first office was.
That was my first office there, and I had about 25 men work for me, a few vans, and just...
I can't imagine that at 20... well, I was just going to say, I was 28 when I got my first office down there, when I set up my first business, but 18...
Yes, and I had an accountant upstairs. Used to go and give him all my receipts in a carrier bag. I had like no like business acumen like whatsoever. I didn't understand the difference between personal finances, business finances and all that.
How not to kind of put them together.
How to control things. And I remember one time he come down and he goes to me, "Mark, what the hell do you go up to at the weekends?" I'm like, "What are you on about?" And he's like, "You just have like all these transactions constantly all weekend." And he was like, "Do you go?"
That was a vodka Red Bull.
He was like, "Do you go to Hawaii every weekend?" I was like, "I have no idea."
18, living my best life, mate.
Yeah, and then from there, so me and my missus have been together since we were like 15.
Aww.
So
and that's Chloe.
Chloe, yeah.
She's lovely. Hi, Chloe.
So we were like, we've always been on the journey together, if you like. So she's always worked with me in the business, and that kind of thing. And but she got pregnant. We had our first kid at like 19.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I like then leveled up again. You become a little bit more mature again.
Yeah. All that responsibility.
And the business that I was running like really badly, from the outside looking in, everyone's like, "Mark's doing amazing. He's got like a team of vans going around with the name over it." And
what was the name of that business?
Legg. Anyone with an ego's got to go. Your name has to go on the side of your van.
I haven't done that yet, but only probably because the first name's so hard to pronounce. Oh no, actually that's a lie, isn't it? JK Wellness. That's Joe and Cashier, right? So I guess that's half half there.
Yeah, so that's how I sort of started. It's that thing you want everyone to know it's yours. So you're like, you put your name on the side. I got invited to leave school and look at me now. But yeah, I just would take on so much business and work with everybody. You know, I was the sort of one like, I remember like the Yellow Pages was in. And I go in the Yellow Pages and I had like a company from Wales phone me up and they're like, "We've got 30 houses to paint." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm your man.
I'll be there."
You know what I mean?
Wowza.
Go down and like price all this work, win the work, but then my naivety would come in where it's like you'd think you're friends with the site manager who's running it, and then you might have an order, because I kind of got to that level where I knew you had to have things in writing, so an instruction, but then I was going to do like loads of extra work that wouldn't be instruction, and I'll be like trying to say to like their quantity surveyors who were responsible to sign off your payment, like he said it was fine, they're like, "And where's the
black and white?"
So naivety like that, taking on things that I shouldn't have.
Yeah, like
got myself in a bit of a yeah. And I remember like got myself in a bit of a pickle with the finances, and my accountant, the one who was questioning me going to like Hawaii, it was like the accountant would tell you, they'd hold a mirror up. Yeah. My answer at the time was, I got that accountant, go get another one.
I'm not going to lie, I've been there.
So then I went to the second accountant, and I went there, and it's like, Mark, you've got yourself in a pickle. Yeah. You've got like these like VAT bills and blah blah blah. And my naivety at the time was like, well, I'm not paying those because he owes me money. When they pay me, I'll pay that. It's like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, like you're trading insolvent, and like, again at the time you're sitting there thinking like, please tell me what that means.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so then he was like, yeah, you're trading insolvent. I was like, well, what does this actually mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's like, well, you can't see a clear route to recovery.
Right.
I said, so what do I need to do? He's like, I recommend going to see an insolvency practitioner. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. What's that? But I just knew he was like, it's going to cost you $8,500.
So you were bringing in the money, but you weren't managing the money well.
I wasn't managing the money, yeah. So the other thing as well, like, back then I didn't understand how to manage like profit and loss and things. You just take a load of work on, but you're just really being a busy fool. You don't know if there's any money left at the end because you just got loads.
And you're paying people materials, all
paying
that
people
kind of stuff.
materials, all of that sort of stuff. And also I had overheads too quick, right? Because like
you had so many people.
I just started a business, 18, no business acumen. Next minute I've got my own office, so you've got overheads, and then I'm trying to like.
So you've got more going out than you've got coming in.
Yeah.
How long did that business go on for then? So did you make it insolvent?
Yeah, I made it insolvent. Liquidated it, so I paid insolvency practitioners to put it into voluntary liquidation. It was one of those things, you know, like where
that cost a bit of money though,
$8,500. And that was back then.
Yeah.
That's like 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So then had to take those lessons learned from that really, and we then had Dolly, so we were like parents. And it's around that time as well, Chloe fell pregnant with our second child, Marky, because there was only 14 months between them. So we were like 20, and we were like two kids.
Trying to find yourself.
So we started again, and at the time it was like, I still like couldn't quite get over the ego thing yet, because it was like, I sunk M-Leg decorating, and then it was like, I'll start again then. M-Leg construction. It was like, and I remember the accountant, like, you don't really want to do that, Mark. You've just tarnished your name with that. And I'm like, Chloe's name was Harmon. It was before we was married. I'm like, Harmon Construction. And then it's the other thing as well.
You can say you're consistent.
In my in my naivety back then, I didn't realise. It's like, you know these thoughts you have in your head, so it's like M-Leg. So I'd go on, and because I was so gun-ho, I'd go on like, bang, new company, M-Leg. Then I'd be like, let's go Harmon then, bang, and I'd change the name on company's house. And then I'd be like, CDM, Chloe, Dolly, Mark, CDM Contractors. And then so I changed the name to CDM Contractors, and that's like business going today. It's 16 years old in November. Wow. But when you go online, I didn't realise it's got like all these changes to names, and I'm just like, I didn't know, I realised it's public register, and people are like, what did you do this? You're like, they're thoughts you have in your head, but like, no, Mark's actually online, just keep changing his name. That company exists today. Where's
the base for that one?
So it's in Portsmouth, just off of Airport Service Road.
Yeah. So you've had that now for 16 years.
16 years,
successful, got a good accountant.
Yeah, we have good
accountant. I think it's important that you have a good relationship with accountants, right? Like, as much as some people, I know people that have started businesses and like they fear the accountant, or like they steer clear of it, but you've got to just have that good relationship.
Well, things have evolved massively over the years, so like, I own quite a few businesses now, and one of them is an accountancy.
Oh, amazing!
So
okay.
So that's
I'll call you that one.
So that's quite a recent business. We started this year with chartered accountants.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
And is that all in connection? I mean, this all is now starting to make sense to me, because obviously I remember meeting you years ago when I was doing a lot of voluntary work shaping Portsmouth. At the back of the offices, you were with Geffin, but very, very brief. And then meeting you and Chloe when you first moved to the area, probably in the shop and stuff. But one of the things that I guess is now starting to really make sense to me as an outsider now insider, is why you're so passionate and why Synergy Success Network has been set up. Because is it that...
So it goes a little bit further than that. Yeah, knowing people need them. So that was my first business, right? So that was my experience. Then started CDM. CDM's been going sort of 16 years, I'd say, in November. But about 8 years into the journey, everything was going in my way, if you like. Yeah, so we kind of evolved from being a painter and decorator to a bit of maintenance to a bit of refurb. And then I started trying to go full on, you're like a construction business and you can provide everything. Everything was largely going my way, and then I sort of started to invest in my own personal development. Got myself a business coach. I was with a business coach for a couple of years, and then got a bit overexcited, and then tried to just become that serial entrepreneur again, overnight. Right. Started.
Do you get bored easy? Is that why?
Yeah. Get bored really easy.
Yeah, so I know that's why I'm an I'm like a fool to myself sometimes.
I can't have 5 minutes spare without getting bored. And then I started buying. I bought my first business, sort of the first one that I bought at the time. This was like 2016.
So buying businesses that were already established? Was that within the same arena, like construction?
Another construction business from Southampton, So then that gave us like a second office in Southampton. And then we opened up a little office in Chesington to serve London.
Oh, okay.
Took somebody on to
run.
That. Stupid as well at the time.
Right.
So I kind of went from running one business to then running multiple with different offices. And I brought a guy in to head that up, and very quickly, like within a matter of months, we had about 18 people working out of that office in Chesington, serving London. And then we had other little subsidiaries in the business and things like that. So it kind of went very familiar to growing too big too quick. So if you went back like 8 years ago, the reason it went wrong was because it went too big too quick. And I started getting those things again.
Did you see it coming sooner than you did with Leg? So with CDM, when you made those, that growth, did you see it coming? Like the potential red flags, I guess.
I did, but I was also so committed to it. We went from a place where we started almost getting a bit comfortable. So I remember I couldn't, because when I started, and I was so gung ho as a teenager, I had bad credit, all that kind of thing. And we was living in a little rented house in Stampshire, and we couldn't get a mortgage or anything like that because of the credit. I worked so hard, by the age of 25, I bought my house outright cash. I didn't even need a mortgage. So I went to an auction in London and I got it, phoned Chloe up, I was like, bought us a house. Do you know what I mean? I'd never seen the house.
It's was it down in Pompey?
Yeah, it was in London Avenue. I still own it now. Literally, it was all boarded up, it'd been repossessed. And I asked Chloe to go and have a look at it for me.
Did she call you crying?
Well, I was working and I was like, if you go and have a look at it. And I found out it was on at this auction, and I went up to London, bought this house. My first experience in an auction, first house I bought. And you have to put 10% down on the day, and then you had 28 days to complete.
Oh wow.
And even that was a bit like going home, because I was just like,
what does that mean?
I've got cash, so it doesn't matter. And then after,
just give me the deeds.
The solicitors and that are right, you got to go through the conveyancing, and you're like, on cash. But anyway, so that was a bit touch and go, because you got to complete within 28 days. Phoned Chloe, told her obviously I bought it, and then after she started, because I always say she gets the anxiety for both of us. So she started panicking, and she was like, we haven't seen it. I was like, you have? She was like, well, there was no power in the house. She was like, the windows were boarded up, there was no power.
Oh, wowza.
She was like, I don't actually know what it looks like.
Could you go inside, or was it that?
Yeah, she could. She met an agent there and done a walkthrough.
The dark house.
And I was like, well, you said it was alright. She was like, in the dark? But so anyway, so we bought a house, it was alright, thankfully, it wasn't too bad. Quick refurb.
Got your guys down there,
Yeah.
Amazing.
That kind of thing. And so we went from a place where there was no mortgage on the house. We were quite comfortable. We was only 25.
That's insane, isn't it?
And then we started to get into property. First we went down into property education.
Yeah.
And I went to a property training, started off with like a seminar and then went into like a 3-day workshop.
So as in you going to get educated on how all of that works? Yes,
me and Chloe to learn about it. So we went on that journey and I sat in a room with loads of property investors and I've gone, bragging rights, we don't even have a mortgage. And then all of a sudden they were like, well that's stupid. And I'm like, hey. And then they changed my thought process.
Right.
And they were like, well, you've got all of this equity tied up in one house. That could be multiple houses. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And they was like, yeah, but if you release the equity from that house, there was like the income that you get from the other housing, you could buy multiple houses, the income you get from there would pay your mortgage.
Wow.
So I was like, that changed my thought process.
Education is power, right?
Yeah. So I went about, remortgaged that house, bought some other houses, and off we went into the property investment sort of arena, if you like.
And did you typically buy houses that you could renovate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you were flipping them type thing, yeah.
Well, yeah, so we would buy them, refurb, rent them out, refinance.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So we went into that arena and then we moved ourselves, so we upgraded our house, if you like. So we went from a terraced house to like a semi-detached house, and it was a house that Chloe loved. And at that point, we had our 4th child in that house. Still quite comfortable because like we had these other properties that was paying that mortgage, blah blah blah. Until I went to a seminar called the Billionaire in Tool, the Billionaire in Training.
Right. Okay.
And a guy come over from the States and he was sort of saying, you know, the problem is we over in the UK, we all think too small, we bootstrap ourselves. We believe the only way you can grow your businesses is through retained profits.
Right, okay.
And he was like, you know, if you think big enough, you can go out, you can raise finance and all of that.
Yeah.
So I left that meeting, drove home from London and took out a £350,000 loan.
Oh, wowza. You're like, right.
So then the next thing, I've gone to a networking event and I'm like, right, out for my first business.
Yeah.
Bang, bought a business. I remember calling the business coach I was working with. So I bought a business. Do you want to have a look at his sale agreement? And he was like, whoa, Mark.
And was that a construction business as well?
That was a construction business, yeah. So anyway, I started taking these risks and then taking other things on. And I know Chloe, like, so what happens with this loan? If you take out like $350, but you owe about $450,000.
Yeah, of course.
It says unsecured, but you've got a personal guarantee.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Chloe's like, so what happens if this doesn't work, Mark? I'm like,
well, the house?
Then take the house.
Yeah.
She's like, what?
Yeah.
So the difference is, I've gone from we're secure, we don't even have a mortgage,
to then put everything on the line.
If this doesn't work out, it's fine, we'll be homeless.
And do you gamble? Because I'm not a gambler, right? I don't even like doing the lottery. But somebody pointed out to me recently, but you gamble all the time, Kashir, because of like the businesses and the money and everything, and all that side of it. And I'll throw everything from one business and I'll invest all of the money I've made into another business, and like then everything's almost at a clean slate again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't gamble, but it is actually gambling, isn't it? Really.
When I was younger, I had a real problem with gambling.
Okay.
So I was like, I had an addiction to fruit machines.
Oh, really?
And I used to actually go to Gamblers Anonymous meetings.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know that. That isn't why I said that, by the way. I actually didn't know that.
But no, I don't. Now that I don't gamble in terms of like new bets and stuff like that. We'll go to the horse race and say I don't like sit there and put bets on. But yeah, it is obviously
a form of it.
I like to look at that I'm managing my risks and I'll try to mitigate risk where I can, but you're always
and you've got
to,
I think one of the most important things in business that a lot of people don't understand is that you've got to spend money to make money.
100%, yeah.
And so did you pay off the 350k? Did it all work out?
I did, long-winded, it worked out all right in the end. But like I say, cracks started to appear in those businesses. So from 2016 I went a bit mad. And then 2017, lots of cracks appearing, and the most important thing for me is you've got to enjoy doing what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I just come from a meeting before here, and talking about a guy joining the business and heading up a certain department within the business, and I was saying the key thing for me is you work so much of your life, you've got to enjoy what you're doing.
You've got to
be
passionate about it.
We've created a culture now where everyone likes working together. We've all got a common goal to support each other, keep growing, always developing ourselves, and if you're not happy doing it, then I'll wish people well, like please leave if we're not right for you. Sort of thing.
But all the time that you're here and part of the family, like we're going to make sure that looks after everything.
But I got to a point in 2017 where I wasn't enjoying it.
Right.
Yeah, I felt the culture had become very toxic.
Okay.
you know, things weren't working out, and then everyone starts pointing fingers and we're all blaming each other and stuff like that. And ultimately, you know, I was the leader of the ship, so I had to take control of the ship.
Decisions,
So unfortunately, I did turn into Alan Sugar overnight.
Did you? You're like, you're fired.
So yeah, about it was a bit of lots of things have happened, and it kind of got me to a point where I thought, you know what, I need to scale back.
Yeah.
Need to take stock of what I got. And then go again. Reevaluate. And that was beginning of 2018. So that was January 2018. And things worked out. I made some good decisions and things worked out. And it was at that time I was working with Geff, and it was like, I thought to myself, when I first went into business, when I got myself in a pickle, I didn't have the knowledge and experience to be able to change the things.
Like pivot it back to where you want it to be.
So my only option at the time was to close the company. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, that's almost like what everyone, it's like people believe now, it's like a common perception that, you know, every successful entrepreneur failed a business, and I think, well, it doesn't always need to be that way, because ultimately the people that lose out is generally the taxpayer. Because we're in a system where you can go on Companies House now, register a business, literally within 5 minutes they're opening companies at the moment. That person's a business owner, they're a director, but yet they don't understand either their responsibilities. So normally what they kind of do is they get themselves in the right pickle, they learn along the line what they need to do around taxes, you know, managing VAT, payroll. In the construction, you need a CIS, there's, you know, CITB levy, there's all these sort of stuff that they generally learn along the way, but a lot of the time they learn it too late. And they got themselves into such a pickle, they close the company, and then, you know, the economy loses out because it's generally the taxpayer.
The money's gone kind of thing,
it's gone,
the taxes don't get paid.
So then I was sort of sharing all these things with Geff, and I was like, well, it's what I've learned over the years, and we said, well, why don't we help other people, you know? So I work with a business coach, so I massively believed in business coaching, and we set up Synergy Success Network.
That's the Think It, Say It, Do It model, right?
Yeah, well, that's Geffin's little strap line, that's what he come up with.
Say it, do it.
But we set it up, it's a business training organisation, but initially, me and Geff was just like, we're just going to help small businesses.
I remember when you guys first started it, and to see where it is today, it's
But what happened quite quickly was, you know, when you start a business and you're like, we're just going to help everyone. Do you know what I mean? We help all small businesses. And then I wrote a book called The Business Builder, which is plan, develop and build a 7-figure trade business.
Oh, wowza.
And then I went on from the book, and then I've done an audio book, and I've created an online course. Because you know, like where my area of expertise is working within the construction industry, running trades businesses. So naturally, like tradespeople would gravitate towards me. So then I niched. And that's kind of like where me and Geffin parted then. So he kind of has his niche working within the criminal justice system. And I have my niche working within the...
So this makes sense now as to why when you see a lot of the photos of, you know, the like the team effort and you kind of get everyone together, it's mostly guys, right? So that makes sense now as to why that's happening. And then where does Jets come in? So
so Jets.
Mark and Chloe own Jets down on Anchorage Park.
Yeah, so Jets Porter. So Jets is a franchise. So I've actually been training at Jets Gym since it opened in 2018. Because I've got a business 5 minutes
makes
up the
sense.
road, and been training there and watched it when it launched. It was quite successful.
And then it
kind of dipped. And I just kind of put the feelers out early doors that I was interested in buying it. And it wasn't available for sale. Then it came available for sale around just before we went into COVID, 2020. Asked somebody to put me in touch with the UK franchise director. I think we had a few exchanges of emails and might have had a call, but ultimately they decided to sell it to an existing franchisee.
Right.
So someone who had 2 successful clubs in London.
Okay.
And
London's a completely different ballgame though, isn't
different
it, to Anchorage Park and Pompey?
They ended up with a general manager from Poole
Okay.
and an owner from London. And there was probably a lot of disconnect there.
Yeah,
and
it almost doesn't make sense.
Memberships had plummeted. They never recovered from COVID.
Yeah.
So then I've got a friend, Joel Kirby. He's
Yeah.
been a friend of mine since we were teenagers, and he went off into the Navy.
Yeah.
He was a very successful boxer, boxed at a very good level. Then went on to pass his skill set, if you like, through coaching. So become a PTI in the Navy. Right. Worked his way up to be sort of like head coach of the Royal Navy, Royal Marines in the boxing teams. Wow. He had completed his degree and stuff, and he told me he was leaving the Navy.
Wowza.
And I was like, well, what do you think you'll do when
this
you leave?
Meant to be.
What do you think you'll do when you leave the Navy? And he was like, I don't know, I've been looking at franchises, don't really know what to do. And I was like, oh well, you know, these are sort of things that you might want to watch out for, and blah blah blah. But like, you know, let you know sort of thing. And then randomly this come up. I got contacted actually to ask if I was interested in another franchise of Jets in a different area.
Right.
And I was
not
like,
in Portsmouth.
not in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I was like,
do you know who I am?
I was like, no, I want Portsmouth.
Yeah, makes sense.
Portsmouth's not for sale, and I was like, well, it should be.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, we'll set up. We'll initiate calls with the franchise director. Yeah. Spoke to him, sort of relayed where I felt where the gym was struggling and what improvements and stuff like that. And he sort of like, he liked what we said and said, you know what? I'll approach the owner. The owner wants to open up a 4th gym anyway in London. Right. We don't want him to open up a 4th gym when this one's not
doing
performing.
Well. So if he lets go of that one and then moves on.
So then I contacted Joel and I was like, mate, you know, like you've got a degree now in like strength and conditioning, you've like got a career in like personal training, you love the fitness industry. He just bought a house in Copner, a couple of minutes up the road from the gym. Just had his first child and stuff like that. I was like, this opportunity's come up. It's like meant to be. I was like, you know, we've been friends since teenagers. We can go in as business partners. Anyway, so introduced him to the franchise guy. We agreed to sell. It took a lot longer than I was training there every day. Whilst like we was in the due diligence process, and we had signed an NDA and all that kind of thing. It's a global
company, isn't it? So I imagine that was quite a
it's a global thing.
You and Joel, that you own that together.
Yes, we own it together. Yeah, so it's a company called BFL Fitness Limited that we bought.
Right.
And then they have a franchise agreement with.
And it has. I mean, I'm a member of Jets, and as is my husband, and my little boy goes down as well. And we just love the staff there. We love the atmosphere. It's just, do you know what I love about it is that it's not all bright lights and big, do you know what I mean? It's cozy, it's comfy, and especially if you're someone who, you know, suffers a bit of anxiety, it's just absolutely perfect. It's got that community spirit, like that community vibe to it.
That's something we worked hard to create.
I think because you and Joel are so hands-on with it, and like you know, as an outsider or as a gym member, we see you guys using the facilities and stuff, which you don't see at David Lloyd's or Horizon Leisure Centre or whatever. You know, there's no comparison in that respect. Yeah,
it's because, like I say, we've put in 2 local people, and like we're like one of them. We're training with everybody, and we've worked really hard with that community. We've got really good personnel in there. So I understood what the gym needed.
one of our favourites.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's brilliant.
The effort he puts in with my little boy.
I was there this morning,
phenomenal.
right? And we done his high rocks class there. And a couple of guys who trained with me met me there to train with me, and they said, "Oh, Mark, we've got a video call at 8 o'clock. We've got to be here in high rocks." I was like, "I tell you what. Bring your laptop. When you finish, go in the staff room." I said, "You can do your video call in there." And I was like, "Oh yeah, brilliant." Anyway, I got a text off Anza whilst I was in Bar Aroma before here. Mark, who are these guys in the staff room? I'm like, they're good.
It's okay.
They're okay, but it's just brilliant.
That's good though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like come into work, he's obviously walked in the staff room.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, do I still have a job?
These guys are like, I was like, no, they're fine.
Oh, bless him.
He's absolutely brilliant. Chris is brilliant.
Yes. They
really
all know
good.
their stuff, don't they? And they're just personable, you know, like They really take the time to just have a little natter, like, you know, how's your day been? It doesn't feel like a tick list exercise, you know, it feels genuine, which is really important. And so do you see that continuing to be a part of your business empire? And
it's massive, and we've increased the membership. We've doubled the membership since we took over.
Amazing.
So there was like 560 members in May last year, and we've got like over 1,000 now. Done a refurb, had an external training area, worked hard with like classes and stuff, creating the community. We do lots of like challenges that come off the back of there as well, and it links really well with like the Synergy Success Network. Since we've taken over there, we've done like charity rides to Paris, where we've raised like over £6,000. We've done adventure triathlons where we've raised thousands of pounds again. So loads of that stuff that comes off of
hero for sure.
Back of it.
So how many businesses do you own right now then? So you've got CDM Construction, Synergy Success Network, Jets, accountancy firm.
Yeah.
Is that all of them?
Or
am I missing like?
There's 20.
I should have gone on Company's House.
There's 20 limited companies. Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah. So something.
But you look so like zen and like with it.
Yeah, because what's changed in recent years? Yeah, what would I say? I've learned to control my ego a little bit. Yeah? So I've done quite a bit of personal development. Got into mindfulness. So started practicing mindfulness and that kind of stuff, and studied emotional intelligence, all that kind of thing. So I think I'm a bit better now at controlling my ego. So what I used to think was, if I had a new venture, I'd go on like social media and I'd say, oh, doing this, blah, 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 blah. So I've got businesses now where I look at investing in people. So it's like, I look at a business model and I look at an individual. So a lot of people do this where the comparison to horse riding. So they say, like, if you look at a racehorse being the business, and then the person who's heading the business up being the jockey, and then your role is to be like the investor in the horse, be the trainer, the coach, that kind of thing.
So you need to start with, is the jockey any good?
So every business I've got now, it's my role now is training and coaching the jockey.
Oh wow. That's so cool though.
So I no longer need to be.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
I was going to say, you're not even 40, are you?
No.
Because I've just turned 37. So to be 36 and to have been invited to leave school and to be sat where you are today, like so for your own mental health and keeping that on an even keel, I mean, I know and just see as an outsider that you and Chloe obviously have a great relationship, and they say behind every successful man there's a strong woman. So I'm sure that plays a really integral part. And you guys, you do your fitness together, and is that how you manage your mental health, is with the fitness and the mindfulness and stuff?
So I've got a bit of a routine that I've sort of adapted, if you like, over the kind of the last 8 years maybe. And I just sort of say to people, well, because there's never one thing, is there? You know, when someone's looking for like a magic pill, like, do you do breathing? Do you do meditation? You're like, do you read? And it's like, or like there's people like, I've just started doing cold showers and it's made me feel amazing. I'm like, I've got a combination of things, and I'm like, I don't know. I've done cold therapy for 7.5 years.
My husband does that every day.
So I do every
cold
day.
Shower.
I do the cold showers every day.
And you can hear him in there, like. I couldn't talk to myself like that.
Do that. I've got like the cold plunges and stuff like that. Got like massive into reading about eight years ago. Like
fiction or
no, never read a fiction book in my life.
What do you and Joe go on?
No, only ever like self-help books. Used to do like the meditation and visualization, but what I've arrived at is I follow the Wim Hof breathing app.
That's what he does.
I do that every morning without fail. Do 3 rounds. I think I haven't missed a day for about 3 years, not a single day.
That's incredible.
3.5 years.
That takes a lot of because it's a form of art, I think, like mindfulness, the breathing, even the cold shower stuff. And what I mean by that is it takes practice to really kind of feel the full benefits of it, and you've got to practice that skill and be patient with
Yeah,
it, you know?
and then we attend like probably every 3 months we'll attend like a mindfulness retreat or something, and then normally pick up some new skills, and it might, because sometimes you could do that and it gets a bit samey because you're doing it all the time, but then I don't know, it might trigger something, you can do it again, start getting a bit better at it. So I train every day. I don't have rest days.
Yeah.
No, I don't intend to have rest days.
Okay.
Something could get in the way.
There's no such.
No, so I would try. My thing is to train for only 6-5 days of the year.
Okay.
And I do a mixture of strength and physical. And again, that thing is like what's worked for me is like when you get into the gym, a lot of people are like, I need to have big muscles and things like that. For me, that's like an outside job. You want to look good to other people. I want to feel good inside.
I want to feel good.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not too worried about outside.
If it ends up looking good, then that's great.
Then that's great,
it's about the internal. What would you say is your biggest lesson learned? Like in life in general?
Biggest lesson learned? Probably learn to listen to other people. Like get education and stuff. I tell you what, actually, it would be education, and I'll give you quite a funny story. So obviously I went in and I invested a lot of money for a couple of years, really deep diving in personal development, business development and all of that, property, all this sort of stuff. And a saying used to be, if you think education's expensive, try ignorance. So then when we started Synergy, then I kind of really adapt that mindset, and not people don't always believe in it, because ultimately you're selling a program or a course, aren't you? So you're going to say it. But I bought a boat last year. And when I was younger, I had a couple of little boats and stuff like that, and then I got one slightly better last year. And a lot of people kept saying to me, are you going to do your training? And I was like, what training? They're like, you got to do your powerboat. And I'm like, I had boats when I was little. You know? Like a little one with like a 4 horsepower engine driving around the harbour sort of thing. So I got this boat, and it's got like 100 horsepower engine on the back, and I've got Chloe and the kids in the boat. I'm like, I got this boat, and we picked got it from Brighton, and we keep it in the Trafalgar Marina. So anyway, you come out the harbour, you've got to go quite slow, and you get out the front, Southsea seafront, and you just floor it. And I'm flooring it, and I'm coming along, bearing in mind I've got Chloe and our 3 boys in the boat.
Wow.
And then suddenly I had this massive wallop, and the boat juddered, went forward, and the engine's flown up.
Oh no.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on? You panic, because you've got your little ones with you. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Who do I grab first? I couldn't work out what was what. And I'm looking around, there's nothing around me. What have I hit? There is nothing around me. I look like I'm a mile from sea, there's nothing around me, like from the shore. And I'm going to Chloe, well, it's like I hit a block, but it wasn't sea blocks, because you can see the blocks from the thing, so it's not the blocks. Anyway, I've got back to the boat club. I went to take the boat out again, and the engine was playing up. So I've gone. I had to contact try to get the insurance. And I took out the wrong insurance. They wouldn't pay out, as you don't. So I've got 4 grand's worth of damage to my engine. Right. I hit the submarine blocks on Southsea seafront.
Oh, right? So that ones you can't see.
Yes. When you think about me being a kid swimming in the sea, and remember the blocks that used to come out, so at low tide you can see the block. I didn't realise they go all the way out to the fore.
Oh my god.
And what you've got is, you've got little lanes. So you've got a small boat lane, and then you've got a deeper shipping lane further out, and you have to go through them.
Free willy everywhere, you can't.
So I'm like, this guy, when he's come to my engine, he's like, I think you've hit the submarine blocks. So he's explained it, and I'm like, right, 4 grand's worth of damage. Anyway, from that I've gone, I'm going to invest in the RYA's powerboat training. And it was only like 400 quid. So meet this guy Pete, and you do a day of theory and a day on the sea. And he's come to my office to do the theory. He's laid his map out and right, first things first, Mark, do you know about the submarine blocks? And I've gone
400 quid versus 4 grand.
Yeah, and I've gone, if you think education's expensive, try ignorance.
Oh my god, I bloody love that. Absolutely love that.
And I just thought, if I listen
to what you say yourself,
what people said, are you going to invest in the powerboat training, which was like 400 quid, versus 4 grand's worth of damage, and then I ended up doing the training anyway.
Oh my goodness, and you've had no accident since.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. What would you say is the most politely rebellious thing you've ever done, besides skipping the training and almost, killing yourself?
Politely rebellious. So I suppose that's just being a rebel but trying to disguise and justify it, really.
Yeah, basically. Justify. So nothing illegal, obviously. So, yeah.
I don't really know off the top of my head, but it's like anything, isn't it? Yeah, like they say you make a decision on emotion and then back it up with logic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think I do that a lot anyway. So you
your
don't see it as
decisions
rebellious, do you?
Okay, yeah, but if you're kind of going against the grain with that, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're making your decisions based on
You
emotion.
make a decision based on emotion and then you back it up with logic after.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But that
I
is
suppose I don't
rebellious.
see it
People
as
say you
rebellious.
should.
From the outside, someone else would. But I'm
see,
like,
yeah.
I've got all my reasons why it's not rebellious.
Yeah. It's politely rebellious, isn't it? It's going, well, I know that that's how society views it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And you're not doing anything to hurt anyone.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose that is kind of how I do things anyway. It's a bit like, kids are all going through at the moment, getting their qualifications and all of that. And like I say, really proud of like Dolly, what she's actually done really well.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me because when Chloe talks to me about the kids and do your bit, father these children, tell them when they're like playing up
They've got to
at
go to school, yeah.
I'm kind of there like, school doesn't matter.
It's fine.
You don't need school.
Yeah. Which business do you want me to buy for you?
It's a bit like, I suppose, to go back politely rebellious. So Andy, who runs a commercial gas business of ours.
Andy Gamby?
Yes,
Yeah.
Andy Gamby, yeah. He'd be a good guy to get on this channel.
Well, I'll tell you a story about that afterwards.
So he texted me last week and he was like, mate, we need to get another apprentice on. He's like, our engineers are growing, we need another apprentice. And I'm like, my boy Marky's on some holiday at the moment. I'm like, Marky, mate. I was like, he's looking for a bit of work.
How old is he now?
He's 15.
Right.
He
can leave school, go on, go get yourself to work.
Yeah, he's pretty good for his age. He's quite disciplined. He's in the gym all the time and he's stacked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, he's a strong lad. Do you know what I mean? He's a hard worker. He'll come in. I was like, I'll take him to get some steel toe cap safety boots tomorrow. I was like, he can go online. He can do his asbestos awareness training, manual handling training. And then I'm like, we was having a barbecue at the time. And then I'm like, Marky's got a job. And Chloe's like, Marky's at school. And then she's like, so next week he's got a job. I was like, she's got a job in it if he likes it.
Yeah.
She was like, no, Mark, he stays in education, he's 18. I'm like, no, he doesn't have to. And she's like, no, he does.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm like,
it's like the yin and the yang.
yeah, and I'm like, wow, just see how he feels.
Yeah. And so did he start?
He did. He done 3 days this week, and it's good actually. We got some really good feedback from the engineer he worked with, and he'll do a few days next week. No, I think
Chloe
he'll go back to school and then do casual work.
What
but
great
what I mean is, it's just the way that my mind naturally works. It's like, he doesn't need school.
It's fine. Well, I mean, it's hard not to, isn't it? When you've been as successful as you are, having been invited to leave, as we pointed out a few times, it's hard not to have that mentality, right? Yes, there are elements. I mean, I home educate my son.
Oh no, yeah.
So it's I'm not anti-system, but there are elements obviously that absolutely drive me cuckoo. But it's what works best for that individual, I think. Like, my son is academic and he's a fantastic musician, and I think he'll be successful in life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he needs that bit of paper, but there is still that mentality in there of what society thinks you do and don't need, this kind of thing,
Yeah, because I'm a bit like that when it comes to like family holidays, and obviously like you can't take them out of school, and it's a bit like, for me, there's that whole side of like, well, I didn't go to school because even before I was kicked out, I never done a single lesson, so I didn't do a lesson in the whole secondary school. Do you know what I mean? Because I would only go in to play up. Do you know what I mean? So there's that kind of like belief in me, like, you don't need school. Lots of successful sort of entrepreneurs that I've met didn't go through the school system. And then so like for me, it's like, I just go on and like book a holiday, and then Chloe's like,
no,
they're at school, and I'm like, which
and
book
the
now?
fines now are crazy, aren't they?
Yeah, but then I suppose like the rebel in you, and this is what I'm saying about justifying it. After I'm like, they're going to learn so much more going on holiday, blah blah blah.
We're justified. It's politely rebellious. Well, this is the thing with politely rebellious, is that before we took Charlie out of school, I would do things like that, and I would put a status on social or whatever saying, oh, I've done another politely rebellious thing or whatever, and then in the end I was like, I need to trademark that. But we would just book holidays, and I'd email the school saying, "Oh, we're taking him for a wellness week."
Yeah.
Because he's stressed, he's getting bogged down by school. It's 6 weeks until the summer holidays.
Yeah.
We just want to go, and we'd book it, and we'd go the next day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to do that, and because I think that actually it teaches children. And I know it's really hard for parents to do that now, especially with the way they've changed the fine system. But I think it's really important to teach children that they are free.
Yes.
They're free, and they do. And they can make their own decisions in life.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this down a notch because we've gone very deep, and I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions, Mark. Okay?
All right, okay.
Enjoy. Eggs or sausages?
Eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you like your eggs in the morning?
Poached.
I love a poached egg. I'm really bad at making them though.
Right. Go back. I can't make poached eggs.
Oh, okay, right.
So I'll get my eggs, go up there, get my poached eggs, or go in there, I'll get my poached eggs.
Is that Heath's or Aroma? Yeah.
Both, yeah. So that's how I have my eggs. But if I'm at home, they just can only be scrambled in the pan.
Yeah, just mashed around.
With a bit of butter, I'm just going in butter.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you eat meat?
Yeah.
Yeah, you love meat. Okay. Biking or swimming?
Biking, I'm horrendous at swimming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you've got a swimming pool?
I've got a swimming pool indoors, yeah. But I've got a thing, so I'm like really big into endurance events.
Right.
But I'm held back. I entered as an Ironman, and I always complete any endurance event. That's my thing. I will never ever give up until I entered an Ironman. I got disqualified because I missed the swim cut by 79 seconds.
Oh no!
And now I've signed up to another triathlon, and it's about a week away, and I've done no swim training.
Oh my god!
So I can ride.
So can you swim?
I can swim, but I'm a breaststroker. I can't get the front full technique.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Which is fine. Like I could go in and swim for 2 hours non-stop.
Yeah.
But you've got a cut-off period when you enter a triathlon. So
are we going to find you for the next week in your swimming pool?
No, what I'll do, I'll politely rebellious, and I'll already started telling myself that event's not a big enough challenge, and I'm going to do my own one that's a bigger challenge, which will probably be something mad like a big bike and then run a marathon or something like that off my own back.
Hardcore.
Something along those
lines.
And
do you bike for fun or just for these endurance events?
A bit of both, yeah. So like last night we'll meet at Jets, and we do some stuff like once a week where we get people out of the gym and we go for runs or cycles.
Nice.
So we done that last night, just 25 miles from the gym. We cycled over to Hayling, looped around Hayling and back. So do that, and like I say, we've done a few charity bike rides and stuff.
That's amazing.
I run a lot.
Willpower. You run as well?
Quite a bit, yeah. So I do like long distance stuff.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing how you find the time. Now, when you're having a conversation with someone, right? So imagine you're at your house and you're having a barbecue and you've got loads of friends over. Are you somebody who would prefer to have banter or a conversation about business? Business or bants?
Business all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I have like a little bit of banter, but I've got a really small social battery.
Okay. Yeah.
So like,
you don't like to be drained.
I'm no good at parties.
Really?
No way. No.
Yeah.
No, so like I've completely changed. Like I don't get drunk or nothing anymore. I haven't for years.
Yeah.
Used to.
Yeah. Same.
Slaughtered.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
You won't find Mark with his head down the toilet.
So
yeah.
I need my wife to be the most sociable one.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise no one would want to come to mine.
Right, so you balance each other out.
It's quite funny because my daughter has picked that trait up. She said to me about her social battery. Yeah. And even like these endurance events, I have to pick them wisely. I can't go too far. Because even my mates who I like love to bits, we'll go and do a Europe Stuff Its Mother where we'll work together for 12 hours through the night. We'll start 8 at night, we'll go through to 8 in the morning, we drive back. I couldn't do another day because my social battery's run out.
I'm done. But it's good that you recognise that though, and I think that sometimes like we go through a lot of years, especially in your early 20s and stuff, where you don't recognise it and you just try and push through, usually with alcohol or whatever, and then when you realise that and you just kind of get that balance right, it's a powerful thing I think to have recognised and to be instilling that in your children as well, that it's okay. That if you don't want to go to a party, you don't want to socialise, that's okay. Like that's all right. You can stay at home and watch a movie, you know. That's cool. And I think we touched on this a little bit with the Alan Sugar stuff, but hiring or firing?
What do I prefer?
Yeah.
Well, it's not nice to fire, is it? Obviously, if you're firing someone, then you've done a bad job, haven't you? Because you hired them in the first place.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? You hired them in the first place, so if you fired them, you've messed up, haven't you? You hired the wrong person.
So you see it as like something you've done wrong.
Yeah, because you either hired the wrong person, or you wasn't capable of managing them to
coaching them.
Yeah, managing and coaching them to get them to be able to perform how you require them to perform.
And do you have a lot of hand in hiring for your businesses? Like, is that something you like to be involved in, or do you kind of leave it to the leadership team?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
So I will generally work with the leadership team to bring in any sort of like white collar staff.
Okay.
So if we're bringing anybody in like maybe management roles, I'm generally involved in 99% of that hiring process.
Yeah, makes sense. So like part of the interview process.
Yeah, but not so much like the blue collar operatives and stuff, because generally the people who are hiring them know better than me anyway.
Yeah.
So like if Andy's hiring a gas engineer, I'm not a gas engineer. Basically, my role here is to provide strategic business support and direction. So if Andy's hiring a manager,
that's his area of expertise.
Yeah, like we've just welcomed an air conditioning director. We set up an air conditioning business.
Oh yeah, I saw that actually.
Yeah, so it's like an offspring of CG Southern, and we set up CG Aircon, and then we've welcomed Trevor into the business. So me and Andy would work very closely on that.
Okay.
Whereas if they're bringing in air conditioning engineers, that's not my forte.
Yeah.
So Trevor would be on board and then.
So you can kind of judge it from a aura personality perspective, but as far as like a technical perspective,
if I can't add value, there's no point me being there, is there?
Exactly. I'd rather be eating my poached eggs at Aroma. No, fair enough. And what would you say the future holds for the Legg family?
It's continued growth and prosperity is what I'd be targeting.
Yeah.
And you know, nothing's guaranteed, is it? But I'll be working my best to have the best health that I can, and I'll be trying to install that in my family. And you know, we'll always work with a goal to be happy. Yeah, that's kind of like one of my highest.
Is there
priorities.
any kind of like end goal? Do you imagine, or are you one of these people that's like, right, I want to make X amount of pounds and then I want to go live on an island somewhere?
No.
Keep working.
I set goals continuously, but as I grow, my goals grow. Yeah, so I've got like, me and Chloe have got like vision boards when we first got into like self-development, if you like, where we've smashed everything on those boards.
Amazing.
And then we just keep setting more and more goals. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff that we've got today, we couldn't even envision having sort of 8-9 years ago. Yeah. So there's going off a little bit now, and I'm trying to wrap up, but look up a book if you haven't already read it, called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Okay. And he talks about financial thermostat, and it's like when you first get into something, you can never, your financial thermostat's at a certain temperature. Okay. So like you might think that, oh, you know, I can't imagine being a millionaire, do you know what I mean? And then as you grow, the financial thermostat's turned up again, and then you're like, it's a multi-millionaire and that kind of thing. So as the journey continues, you grow, your mindset grows, your vision grows.
It's almost like that manifestation of it, the manifestation.
So you're never really going to achieve the end goal, because it just keeps growing. It keeps
growing, and that's logical though, isn't it? And I think that there's too many people, I think, that kind of do get set in their ways, and they kind of reach a certain element of happiness or success, whatever that looks like, because it's different for everybody, and they go, right, I'm content here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you're clearly not one of those people.
I started, like, my fitness journey was like, I got really out of shape, so I was like about 3 stone heavier than I am now. I couldn't even run 5k. I'd like run 1k stop, and this was through lockdown. I was like, try and run another 1k stop. So then my goal there was like to run 5k, and then it was like, well, get back to like the point where you could run like a Great South Run, like 10 miles and things like that. And then it went on, and then it was like run a marathon, run an ultra marathon, and then it's like my longest run now is like 100k. We run around the Isle of Wight, but now like my goal's like 100k. But then I've started following people online. That's a small run too. So then as I've grown, my mindset's grown, and then I'm like, there's a run not far from here, South Downs Way, from Winchester to Eastbourne. It's 100 miles, and I'm like, well, my next thing I need to get to is be able to run 100 miles then, do you know what I mean?
So you're always like pushing yourself.
Yeah, I'm always looking and then pushing, and then I'm following people online. Strava's like my new social media, and I'm like, they're doing 200-mile runs, do you know what I mean? So you just keep growing, but what I have learned is the only limits that you have are those you put on yourself, do you know what I mean?
100%. And I mean, what a delicious, wonderful, network that you've got then, it's a Synergy Success Network. You can just see, like, now that I've sat down with you and spoken to you and felt your energy, I can just completely understand why everyone says, you know, the wonderful things they say about you and why everything's such a success. So you've just got that, think it, say it, do it attitude, right? Just put your mind to it.
One thing I'm like hell bent on, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
You do it.
Yeah, it's like, it's not always been this way, but like now I say like my highest value is integrity, and that's why I've attracted so many different business partners and people invest in me, because they know if I say I'm going to do something, it happens.
You're going to do it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the point, like,
a man of your word.
Yeah, and everything I do now has got to be come from, you know, honourable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, those kind of deep-rooted morals.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Thank you.
And keep being this amazing unsung hero that everyone shouts about, because it's beautiful. And to think that you're Pompey born and bred and you're as successful as you are, yeah, it's an absolute honour to have you in today. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.